Let the principles work. You know, there's really no need for us to do a whole lot of great things and a whole lot of magnificent things if we're not going to let these great and magnificent things work in our lives. I see a lot of people love going to church and being faithful to the church. But when it comes to their life, they don't allow their faithfulness to work. A lot of people love giving the tithe and the offering. But when it comes to their life, they don't allow the tithe and offering principle to work. A lot of people are friendly. But when it comes to their lives, they don't allow the principle of being friendly to work. They don't let the principles work in their lives. And when you see people who don't let the principles work, those are the people who think they have to work. When you see people who don't let the principle do anything, those are the people who think they have to do everything. Now, a lot of people got that mindset where I want God to work in my life. I want God to perform miracles in my life. I want God to do great things in my life. But these people sit back and do nothing thinking God is going to do it all instead of obeying these principles and letting the principles do it all. That's the way I live. Things that I used to worry about, I don't worry about it no more because I let the principles work. I don't worry about haters and enemies no more because I allow the principles of God to work in my life. I don't worry about financial situations no more because I allow the principles of God to work in my life. Why would I go and give my money to the church in tithing and in offering, and then when it's time for the tithe and offering principle to do what it's supposed to do for me, I get in the way? When I need something in my finances or something that requires money in my life, why would I then go and take out a loan to get this thing, getting in the way of the principle of tithing and offering? Why wouldn't I just step back and command this thing to be done? Command this thing to be paid. Command money to come to me. Because I know I done followed the principle. If I know I done followed the principle, then I don't need to go take out a loan. I just need to let the principle work. And when I open my mouth and speak, that causes this principle to work in my life and things get done. Why would I be worried about somebody coming against me? Or why would I be overly concerned about an enemy or a hater when I know that I have God on my side by following God's principle? I know I have people backing me up because I follow God's principles. The principle says if I want friends, I must first show myself friendly. So if I follow that principle, I don't have to worry about you turning against me. I don't have to worry about y'all 5, 10, 15, 100 people turning against me. That's how the principle works. Do you allow the principle to work, or do you go somewhere and cry about people coming against you, cry about people talking about you, cry about enemies, cry about haters, getting in the way of the principle, stopping the principle from being able to work because you got tears in the way? Let the principle work. Why would I be so faithful to ministry and faithful to the church, and then when it's time for me to reap the benefits in my life for being faithful, I get in the way? I'm doubting about something. Something that God not only wants to do, but God is doing right now. But I'm sitting over here doubting because I don't know that principle that I put into action through my faithfulness is actually doing good things for me right now. But I started doubting, and now I just got in the way and stopped that principle of faithfulness from bringing good things my way. I just stopped God from doing what God desired to do because I got in the way. I let my doubt get in the way of that principle of faithfulness working. I am not about to sit up worrying about what's going on this earth when I know that I'm living my life based on the principles of God. It doesn't matter what's going on. I'm going to allow the principles of God to work in my life, and I don't have to worry about it. I refuse to sit up and be overly concerned about something that's going on in my body when I know that I done already spoke healing over my body, and that principle of speaking over my body has to work. Why would I sit up and worry about that? That principle is going to take care of that, so I can go and do something else. I refuse to sit up and worry about anything going on in my finances when I know that I got the principle of giving working on my behalf. When I know that I got the principle of tithing working for me. Why would I worry? Why would I go and work my butt off trying to work all this overtime when I know I got the principle of tithing and giving working for me? What is it that is worth worrying about when I got the answer? I got God's principles that I can use. I got God's principles that I can put into action to fix everything going on in this life. Why would I worry? Why would I doubt? Why would I be confused? Why would I be crying? Why would I get in the way of God's principles and try to do anything on my own? Following God's principles got people out here for me that I don't even know. Following God's principles got people buying things for me that I want, and I didn't even have to spend my own money on it. Following God's principles got people sending me money, people that I've never met, people that I don't even know, just want to bless me. That's following God's principles. Following God's principles got people fighting for me, taking up for me, and I don't have to take up for myself. Following God's principles got me walking up finding money when everybody else just walking over it. Following God's principles got me in places that I never thought I'd be. Following God's principles got me meeting people that I never thought I'd meet. Following God's principles got me in contact with people for business that I never thought I would be in contact with. Following God's principles got people calling me that don't want to use nobody else but me. Following God's principles got me being healed of sicknesses that I didn't even know I had. Following God's principles got me spending more time at home than I spend working. Following God's principles got me taking 2 or 3 vacations every year. That's following God's principles. That's what following God's principles will do for every one of us. I let the principles work.